A government contractor's son bragged on a messaging app, and it accidentally exposed a $46 million digital heist right under the nose of the U.S. government.
It honestly sounds like the plot of a bad action movie.
It totally does. Let me just give you the 90-second rundown here, because this is wild. So picture this. Elite French elite forces, the GIGN.
Right, which is basically France's equivalent to Delta Force.
Exactly. Heavily armed, top-tier guys. They completely stormed a property on the Caribbean island of St. Martin. But they weren't raiding a cartel boss or, some international spy.
No, they were going after an IT guy.
An IT guy. They were there to arrest John Daghita, who goes by the nickname Lick. He's a federal contractor who had fled the United States. And when they finally caught him, he was literally clutching a metal briefcase.
Just straight out of a movie.
Stuffed to the brim with $100 bills, physical hard drives, and security keys. It's staggering. And just hours ago, FBI Director Kash Patel stepped in front of the press and confirmed the massive scale of the crime. Daghita managed to steal $46 million in seized cryptocurrency straight from the US Marshals Service.
Straight out of the federal vault.
Yep. So welcome to the deep dive. Today, you and I have a very specific mission. We're pulling from the latest news reports, official statements, and raw on-chain analytics to unpack exactly how a sprawling administrative failure allowed an insider to just walk away with a fortune.
And more importantly, what this catastrophic breach actually means for the safety of your own digital property.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because when you hear about tens of millions of dollars vanishing from a federal agency, you immediately assume.
You assume it's a massive cyber attack.
Right. You picture a team of genius foreign hackers breaking through layers of advanced government firewalls. But that is not what happened here at all.
Not even close. I mean, this was not a technological breach. It was entirely an inside job fueled by federal cronyism.
So how does a 20-something guy even get his hands on the digital keys to a U.S. Marshals vault?
Well, it all traces back to the sheer bureaucracy of government contracts. John Daghita is the son of Dean Daghita, and Dean is the president of an IT firm in Virginia called Command Services and Support.
Or CMDSS, for short.
Right, CMDSS. So in October 2024, the U.S. Marshals handed this specific firm a massive, highly sensitive contract. The government basically hired CMDSS to manage and dispose of their Class 2 through 4 seized cryptocurrencies.
And dealing with Class 2 through 4 tokens is a very specialized niche. We are talking about unusual digital assets that require custom security protocols.
Exactly. You can't just throw them on a standard ledger. The Marshals Service is sitting on hundreds of thousands of these digital assets from years of criminal cases.
So instead of building the security infrastructure themselves, the government just outsourced the entire operation.
They handed the literal keys to the vault over to an independent contractor. And this is where the story gets really frustrating because they were explicitly warned not to do this.
This is the part that blows my mind.
Yeah. A competing bidder for that exact contract, a company called Wave Digital Assets, actually formally protested the award. They went straight to the Government Accountability Office, the GAO, and they laid out the risks.
They flagged it.
Loudly. Wave Digital Assets warned them that CMDSS lacked the proper licensing. Specifically, they pointed out that this Virginia firm did not hold the necessary licenses with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and they didn't have the required standing with the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority.
Okay, wait. So another company operating in this space literally raised their hand and went on the record to say, hey, this IT firm does not have the legal or regulatory oversight to guard millions of dollars in digital cash.
Exactly.
You would think the GAO would immediately pause the contract, right?
You would think so. But the Government Accountability Office completely ignored the warning. They just rubber-stamped it. They denied the protests and pushed the contract right through anyway.
And the result of that is just absurd.
Completely absurd. By dismissing that warning, they allowed a firm without standard financial licensing to have direct, unguarded access to highly volatile assets.
And the owner's son just siphons $46 million out the back door.
Right. There was no physical vault to crack, no laser grids to bypass, just a few clicks, and a massive fortune was gone.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because you would think, with all the resources of the FBI and the Marshals Service, the government would have caught this massive theft immediately.
Through their own internal audits, yeah.
But they didn't. They had absolutely no idea that digital vaults had been drained.
The internal oversight totally failed.
And the way John Daghita actually got caught is almost too ridiculous to believe. In January 2026, he got into a petty argument on the messaging app Telegram.
A band-for-band argument.
Yes, going band for band. It is basically a digital bragging contest where two people argue over who has more money and try to prove it with screenshots.
Just absolute peak internet behavior.
Exactly. So to prove he was the richer guy in the chat, Daghita literally screen shared his Exodus wallet on a recorded video call. He showed off millions of dollars just to win an argument with a stranger.
And that single moment of arrogance completely dismantled his entire operation. Because it wasn't the FBI that caught him, it was an independent, private blockchain sleuth named ZachXBT.
Who is an absolute legend in the crypto space.
Oh, totally. ZachXBT is famous for exposing massive frauds that traditional government auditors just constantly miss. When he saw the footage of Daghita flashing that absurd amount of wealth, he immediately started tracing the public blockchain records.
Let's talk about the statistics here, because the numbers ZachXBT pulled are incredible. Using active public ledgers, he traced exactly 12,540 Ethereum flowing directly into Daghita's personal wallets.
Which was worth about $36 million at the time of the trace.
Right. But the origin of those funds is the real kicker. ZachXBT proved mathematically that 25 million of those exact funds were stolen straight from government wallets, holding crypto seized from the massive 2016 Bitfinex hack.
Is just a profound irony. The government seized hacked funds only to have them hacked again by their own contractor.
And the total theft is now officially counted at $46 million.
And Daghita was so blinded by his own arrogance that he actually tried to taunt ZachXBT.
Oh yeah, the dusting incident.
Right. Daghita sent tiny amounts of the stolen crypto directly to ZachXBT's personal wallet. It is a tactic called dusting. He was hoping to implicate the investigator in the crime.
Just trying to muddy the waters. But obviously a seasoned investigator saw right through that.
It failed spectacularly. It just drew more attention to his on-chain movements. And once ZachXBT published everything, the federal government finally woke up.
They scrubbed CMDSS's website off the internet in a matter of hours.
And 6 weeks later, Daghita is sitting in handcuffs in St. Martin.
So what does this all mean? We have a massive government agency that bypassed safety warnings, handed millions to an unlicensed contractor, lost $46 million, and only found out because the thief bragged to a private citizen online.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this heist is fueling a major conservative argument right now regarding government overreach.
Because it exposes a massive hypocrisy.
Exactly. At this exact moment, lawmakers in Congress are fiercely debating the Genius Act. This is a huge piece of legislation designed to heavily regulate stablecoins and bring the entire digital asset market under tight federal control.
While simultaneously debating if the U.S. should establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
Right. You have the federal government constantly demanding more power, more regulation, and more oversight over the entire industry.
They want to dictate how the average citizen interacts with digital property.
And critics are pointing to the CMDSS disaster and loudly asking a very simple question. How can the federal government demand total control over the crypto industry when they cannot even stop a 20-something contractor from looting their own digital vaults?
It's a really compelling argument. I mean, if federal agencies can't secure their own seized assets, how can they mandate security protocols for the rest of the country?
They lose all credibility. And this debate is actually translating into real legislative action right now. The U.S. Senate just held a massive vote regarding digital custody.
The CBDC vote.
Yeah. Yes. The Senate voted 84-6 to completely ban a federal digital dollar, a CBDC, through the year 2030.
Which is a major victory for financial privacy advocates.
Huge victory. The pushback against a central bank digital currency is rooted in the fear that it would give the government ultimate granular control over every single digital dollar you spend.
And this $46 million heist perfectly illustrates exactly why giving a centralized government total control over digital money is a terrible idea.
It really highlights the core ethos of digital assets. Custody risk is counterparty risk.
Meaning if you trust a third party?
Right. Whether it is a giant tech startup or a bloated government contractor who leaves the back door open, if you trust them, you automatically inherit their terrible security.
You take on all their operational flaws.
Exactly. Critics argue that if you do not hold the keys to your money, it isn't really your money. It belongs to whoever holds the password.
And sometimes the person holding the password is an amateur contractor who bypasses basic security to win an argument on Telegram.
Exact.
That is the ultimate takeaway for you listening today. As we watch these battles unfold over the Genius Act and strategic reserves, The only real, mathematically guaranteed way to protect your digital property is self-custody.
Relying on massive institutions just introduces human error, which brings up an important question we all need to be asking right now.
What's that?
Well, if an amateur contractor's son could so easily walk out the digital back door with $46 million in federal funds simply by having the right administrative passwords,
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
what other massive government databases, sensitive public records, or federal financial vaults are sitting wide open right now, completely unguarded and waiting for the next insider to take advantage?
That is a chilling thought to leave on, especially considering how much of our personal lives are tied up in those exact centralized databases. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, stay skeptical of the official story, and most importantly, keep your private keys safe.